Good morning, DeLand. Today we pay tribute to the thousands of American men and women who perished 19 years ago today. Following the events of that tragic day, I'm reminded of how we came together as a nation in the face of hatred and terror. As a city, we have never forgotten that day, and we have made a commitment to continue to honor those who were taken from us too soon. Unfortunately, we weren't able to gather in person today due to COVID-19 restrictions, but our staff is already making preparations for 2021, which will mark the 20th anniversary of when our nation was so brazenly attacked. Today we remember. May God bless each and every one of you, and may God bless our great nation.
Bellman, strike the alarm!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
This just in, you were looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers.
Another plane just hit. Right, oh my God, another plane has just hit. It hit another building, flew right into the middle of it. Explosion.
This is a difficult moment for America. Today we've had a national tragedy. Two airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country. I have spoken to the Vice President, to the Governor of New York, to the Director of the FBI, and have ordered that the full resources of the federal government go to help the victims and their families, and to conduct a full-scale investigation to hunt down and to find those folks who committed this act.
September 11th, 2001 was a defining moment for this nation and for all first responders. 19 years ago today, we lost many American lives, including so many firefighters, police officers, and EMS personnel. This act of terrorism on American soil placed our first responders in a position that demanded courage, and they knowingly, and more importantly willingly, stepped toward their own death to ensure that those trapped in those towers were given every chance to survive.
Today, we remember those heroes, and we unite as Americans to reflect on how we felt that awful day when so many were taken away from us. To lives lost at the World Trade Centers, to the lives lost at the Pentagon, and the brave passengers who had just had enough and took over their captors.
That day is forever seared into my brain as a surreal day. I was an on-duty firefighter on 9/11 in a firehouse watching these events unfold, not wanting to believe this was actually happening. We were placed on lockdown and only allowed out of the fire station to respond to calls. So there, with 4 other fellow firefighters, we watched in disbelief as we became aware that so many of our brothers and sisters lost their lives.
I remember that day very clearly. I was at work in a multi-story office building on one of the top floors. I received a call from my wife saying, "Are you aware of what's going on?" I immediately, with other employees, went to the television set in a conference room and saw the unfolding of the tragedy that struck us on that day. Many questions immediately arose. Why? Who was behind it? What was going on in America? Never had I witnessed anything like that in my life. It was a day that we will always remember. Not unlike, for my generation, the question of where were you when Kennedy was shot. The question for future generations will be, where were you during the 9/11 attacks?
I wasn't even in law enforcement yet when the attacks happened. I was working at a grocery store in Albany, Georgia that morning. When the first tower was hit, everyone was trying to figure out what was going on. When they hit the second tower, I knew something was wrong. What was inspiring even to this day is how police officers, firefighters, paramedics, they didn't even question it. Many had husbands and wives, and yet they didn't hesitate in responding to the need.
As we know, history is the biggest judge of our action and resilience. As united as we were as Americans in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, we face many different challenges today, but one thing I can assure every person in the DeLand community, our fire department, our police department, and all of the city's emergency personnel are united in the fact that we are always ready to serve. I'm especially proud of how our first responders reacted when DeLand was struck by the EF2 tornado just a few weeks ago.
When you call, we will come to your aid. When you have an immediate problem, we come to fix it. And if you're having the worst day of your life, know that we will be there with compassion.
Today, we remember.
We remember.
We will always remember.
Half right, face. Prepare to fire. Ready, aim, fire. Ready, aim, fire. Ready, aim, fire. Detail, tent, hut. Half left, face. Present, arms. Order, arms.